about to stand up? Or has it lasted longer than a minute? If you're near the coast, move immediately to the nearest high ground or as far inland as possible. Earthquake is long or strong, get going.
About 26 million years ago, Zealandia, the ancient continent of New Zealand, stretched and thinned by tectonic forces, had almost disappeared beneath the waves.
This is OneNews at midday. Good afternoon. An earthquake struck the city of New Plymouth this morning, which scientists at GeoNet and GNS Science detected as being a magnitude of 4.8. While there has been no significant damage done, residents report feeling shaken up while others stated that they couldn't feel anything. There have been disputed claims, however, that various areas have received minor damage from the earthquake and that as many as 12 people may have been injured by the earthquake. However, this has yet to be proven.
Hey Paul. Afternoon. I have something I'd like to share with you. What is it? Remember those measurements we took of Taranaki back in November last year? Vaguely. What is this about? I adjusted the sensors to take measurements of every earthquake by the hour rather than by the day since November 7th. Today, I collected all the data and saw something concerning. What? They're increasing in frequency. In November last year, it was on an average of 12 earthquakes per day ranging from 0.3 to 1.1. Now it's an average of 30 to 40 quakes per day ranging from a magnitude of 0.7 to 2.5. They're increasing in frequency and intensity. Do you know where the source of these quakes are? Most of them are clustered around Mt Taranaki. I see. Keep me updated on any further volcanic activity, please. All right then. Thank you for your time.
This is the activation of the regional emergency broadcast for the region of Taranaki at 11:22 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time on the 4th of April 2027. All regional television programming agencies have been temporarily shut down as this broadcast has been aired at the request of Civil Defence and the Regional Emergency Management Agency and issued by TVNZ. At approximately 10:30 a.m., a significantly large earthquake rendering at a magnitude of 6.1 has struck near the area of Korito, causing widespread damage towards infrastructure and roads. It is advised by Civil Defence to remain indoors until further notice until further updates are made. It has been reported that several areas of New Plymouth may be unsafe for public use due to structural damage from the earthquake. The following areas in which Civil Defence has deemed unsafe include Highlands Park, Merrylands, Upper Vosgeldown, Moturoa, and Wellborn. If your area has been mentioned, remain calm and evacuate from the area temporarily until emergency units including the fire department have contained any structural fires and damage. Exercise with caution when walking in a street during the evacuation process for hazards and obstructions that you may face. Take care to avoid damaged or downed power lines, especially above bodies of water, as contact with the water or power lines may be fatal. Furthermore, when driving, take care to avoid any sizable cracks or crevasses within the roads which could damage the vehicle and occupants inside. It has also been discovered that various roads including State Highway 3, Tukapa Street, Franklin Road, Barrack Road, and Mangora Road have been marked as temporarily inaccessible due to landslips caused by the quake, along with a collapsed highway overpass above the Waka-Iho River. Due to these road closures, ground-based supplies and travel in and out of New Plymouth may be restricted as of this time. Throughout the following days, damaged houses will be marked with orange or yellow stickers depending on the level of damage it has, in order to inform property owners that their area of residence is temporarily uninhabitable. Houses which are too damaged may have to be demolished, along with owners of said properties receiving $10,000 in compensation along with temporary government-funded residence. Due to the nature and the geographical location of this earthquake, Mt Taranaki will be raised to a volcanic alert level 1. What this signifies is that while there is significant volcanic unrest, there is no current potential eruption as of this time. If earthquakes do persist, however, in intensity and causing more damage, volcanic alert levels will change. Make sure to keep up to date with the volcanic alert level on our local website, which will be handed out in flyers. This has been a broadcast from Civil Defence. Take care and stay safe.
In other news, a 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck the area of New Plymouth today, causing significant damage. Civil Defence reports that at least 120 people have been injured, along with 14 properties around New Plymouth marked as too unstable to remain standing. It has been shown that several landslides have also damaged and affect roads leading in and out of the city, making transport to and from New Plymouth restricted and temporarily limited. Helicopters have also landed within the city, transporting injured people towards less damaged hospitals, as several hospitals within the New Plymouth area have also been damaged. Local researchers within GNS Science and GeoNet told NewsHub that we can see that this is a clear indication of increased volcanic activity within the area, and that an evacuation advisory should be issued towards local towns and cities within the Taranaki region for health and safety measures. However, this remark has come with dispute from members of the public who believe that there is no reason for an evacuation.
Hello everyone, thank you for attending this meeting. I hope I find you all well. What is this about, Dave? I've gathered us here today to discuss the idea of issuing an evacuation advisory for the city of New Plymouth and the greater Taranaki area. Because of the earthquakes, right? Correct. Is there any evidence that supports the idea that the earthquakes are happening because of volcanic activity? So far, no. It's just an increased frequency and intensity in the earthquakes so far. It could be anything really. It could be coming from the Hikurangi subduction zone. Movement between the Australian and Pacific tectonic plates. Or even crustal deformation. Nothing to indicate the movement of volcanic magma beneath the surface.
I have to agree with him here. We made the mistake of issuing an evacuation advisory for Rotorua back in 2025 during that period with the earthquakes. Thought it was Mt Taranaki, but it was just a swarm of earthquakes within the area. It happens. I'd advise not to make that same mistake again since the press didn't take it well.
I see. Maybe we should hold it off until there's more conclusive evidence of increased volcanic activity.
I agree.
So do I.
Attention! This is a regional broadcast which has been issued by Civil Defence along with GEONA, issued at 1:17 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time on the 15th of April 2027. All regional television stations along with all other broadcasting stations have been temporarily shut down until further notice. Approximately 10 minutes ago at 1:07 p.m. a 6.7 magnitude earthquake has been detected within the area of Okato, causing widespread damage towards the region of Taranaki and being felt as far away as Whanganui and Raglan. The earthquake occurred at a shallow depth of 12 kilometers, causing significant structural damage to local areas. Areas which have been affected within the region include New Plymouth, Inglewood, Stratford, Eltham, Hawera, Opunake, Waitara, and Toko. If your area of residence has been mentioned, please be advised of the following instructions and stay tuned for further information. Significant damage has been done to several key areas around the region. This includes dams, reservoirs, factories, and power stations, including the Stratford and Motukawa power stations. Because of damage to these structures, functions such as running water, working electricity, and food production may be unavailable as of this time. If you are unable to receive basic necessities, make sure to pack an emergency kit with non-perishable food, water, a battery-powered radio, a working flashlight, spare and reusable clothes, along with a first aid kit. If your television is still functioning enough to air this broadcast, inform local neighbors in your community regarding this broadcast and inform them on what to do. Local councils of regional towns and cities may communicate by radio, informing individuals of where to meet for a healthcare check along with potential evacuation measures. Do not remain indoors as you will be putting your life and those around you in danger in the event of an aftershock that could further make the structure you are located in further unstable. Make sure to follow the procedure to drop, cover, and hold in the event that aftershocks continue following this earthquake, which will be likely. Take care to avoid hazards within the street if you are attempting to inform members of the public or you are traveling to an assembly point. Remain vigilant of any evacuation routes that you are taking, especially by the coast or along hillsides, as there is a significant threat of landslides or a tsunami. As of this time, the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA) have concluded that there is a potential for a tsunami with a maximum height of 4 meters to make landfall along the west coast of the Taranaki region. Due to this information, an immediate evacuation procedure will be carried out for all coastal areas of the Taranaki region until further notice. GEONA have concluded that this earthquake has been sparked as a result of the travel of magma underneath the Earth's surface. Because of these findings, Mt Taranaki will be raised to a volcanic alert level 2, indicating moderate to heightened volcanic unrest which have potential for eruption hazards. Further information will be displayed regarding this update. Be sure to check out our website for more information regarding this current earthquake. More updates will be sent out throughout the afternoon. This has been a broadcast from Civil Defence. Thank you for your diligent attention.
This is OneNews. Good afternoon. We have interrupted normal programming to bring you some breaking news. A large and powerful earthquake struck the city of New Plymouth today, causing widespread damage to the area. We have got word that there may be as many as 20 people dead and 850 people injured following this devastating earthquake. Reports on the ground tell us that many key buildings have been either damaged or completely destroyed by the earthquake, as well as a tsunami which struck the west coastlines of Taranaki. While the tsunami only traveled as far as 5 kilometers inland, there have been reports which indicate large-scale flooding as well as 40 people missing. Important areas such as power stations, dams and water reservoirs have also been damaged by the earthquake, leaving many homes without electricity or running water. Civil Defence along with the New Zealand government have made a statement this afternoon which they will be gathering a $40 million emergency package towards affected people of the Taranaki region and giving them food, water and electricity. Plans to create emergency camps within parts of the Waikato have also been drawn up following a statement from GeoNet today, indicating signs of a possible volcanic eruption from Mt Taranaki.
Warning. This is a broadcast issued at the request of Civil Defence along with the Taranaki Regional Council and issued by TVNZ at 11:30 am New Zealand Standard Time on the 16th of April 2027. May we have your full attention please? Following yesterday's devastating earthquake which has left 30 dead and more than 1,000 injured, an immediate state of emergency will be declared for the region of Taranaki. An evacuation advisory will be handed out towards all areas within 40 kilometers of Mt Taranaki as there are warning signs for a possible volcanic eruption. Local New Zealand Defence Force personnel along with the New Zealand Police will be going from door to door, giving residents 24 hours notice to evacuate the area. While this doesn't mean that an eruption is imminent, it has been unanimously agreed for individuals to evacuate the area as a health and safety matter. While areas closer to the volcano will be evacuated first, the evacuation process for larger areas such as New Plymouth, Stratford, and Inglewood may not begin until tomorrow. This will be due to accessibility issues along with areas being within closer proximity of the volcano at more risk than areas further away such as New Plymouth. During the evacuation process, you will expect a number of procedures. Make sure to pack an emergency kit similar to items packed during the earthquake event. Be advised to pack the following: a supply of non-perishable or high-energy foods and bottled water that can last for as long as 3 days or more. Mobile cooking equipment such as a gas canister, utensils, and a match lighter. a flashlight with reusable batteries, a battery-powered radio, a whistle, a fully charged cell phone, a compass or a GPS in order to navigate unfamiliar terrain, reusable clothing that can be used in all appropriate conditions, passports, copies of personal documents such as IDs and insurance. Finally, additional items such as a fire extinguisher, a distress beacon, and further supplies, as this is regarding an event of a potential volcanic alert. Be advised to also carry various forms of masks and goggles such as an N95 mask or a surgical mask in order to protect you and people around you from ashfall. All television broadcasting systems within the region of Taranaki will be shut down as of this time and air only primary information regarding the evacuation procedure or updates regarding the activity status of Mountain Taranaki. As of this time, GeoNet along with GNS Science have raised the alert level of Mt Taranaki to an alert level 3. In order to protect your area of residence from a potential volcanic eruption, make sure to cover objects such as vehicles, machinery, and other items that you are unable to move inside from ashfall. Disconnect drainpipes and gutters along with downspouts in order to prevent volcanic ashfall from clogging up water systems around your area of residence. Also be advised to bring pets and livestock indoors if you are unable to take them during the evacuation process. Close all doors and windows within your area of residence before evacuating in order to prevent ash or dangerous chemicals from entering your house. Also make sure to cover or seal any cracks or thresholds with towels or wet pieces of cloth. If during an eruption, it is highly encouraged to remain away from any valleys or rivers as lahars may cause significant damage and erosion to low-lying areas. Also be advised on appropriate means of travel through ashfall. Civil defense highly discourages the use of vehicular transport in the event of heavy ashfall as ash from the volcano may clog up engines and cause hazards within the road. Make sure to follow all instructions from local officials along with emergency personnel. Evacuation routes within your area will be displayed both on our website along with visually within this broadcast. Make sure to tune into local emergency channels and prepare yourself and your family if you are not currently evacuating as of this time. We thank you for your attention. Stay safe and good luck.
This is a special One News report. Good afternoon. The situation within Taranaki has taken an unprecedented and drastic turn today, as the New Zealand government along with regional emergency management agencies, such as Civil Defence, have issued a full-scale evacuation advisory for all inhabitants of the area. The advisory was called following a devastating 6.7 magnitude earthquake, which has caused widespread destruction and damage within the area. While many evacuees of the area have stated that they are able to live with family elsewhere, others state that they have nowhere to go. In response to some of these claims, some businesses in areas within Wanganui, Wangamomona, Uranui, and Ohura such as schools and public places have opened their doors, allowing evacuees to temporarily live there for the time being. It has also been reported that rivers and valleys within the Taranaki area have been sealed off from the public for the time being in case of the threat of lahars and tidal waves. These rivers include the Waingongoro River, the Waiwakaiho River, and the Hangatahua River, which have all been deemed as unsafe by Civil Defence, as well as NEMA. The New Zealand government have also stated that ships from the New Zealand Defence Force and the Royal New Zealand Navy have been deployed off the Kapiti coast and the western coastlines of Waikato, and are to remain on standby in case residents are unable to evacuate from Taranaki. Reports have also indicated of a potential volcanic eruption from Mt Taranaki for the first time in more than 200 years. Scientists from GeoNet and GNS Science state that they will be keeping a close eye on the volcanic unrest at Mt Taranaki within the following few days. In other news,
This is an emergency broadcast which has been issued at the request of Civil Defence and Gent at 10:40 AM New Zealand Standard Time. This is not a test. At 10:38 AM New Zealand Standard Time on the 17th of April 2027, Mt Taranaki has erupted, sending several million cubic meters of ash into the upper atmosphere at more than 40,000 feet. It is important to remain calm and evacuate your area residents in a calm and orderly fashion. Panicking may make the situation difficult and worse for all individuals around you. Take care to avoid vehicular transport as traffic jams will build up and many roads will be either blocked from landslides or from traffic. Instead, use alternative means of transport such as by bike, boat, or on foot. The Royal New Zealand Navy will be sending in naval vessels along the western coastlines of Taranaki in order to help assist in the evacuation of individuals who may be unable to evacuate. Furthermore, all forms of public transport will be free and all workers are expected to assist evacuees in escaping high proximity areas. Make sure that when evacuating, leave all unnecessary items behind besides an emergency kit which will be essential for the survival of you and your family. If you plan to leave on foot, do take care to wear all forms of protective clothing on your face including a mask, goggles, a ski mask, gloves, a protective hat, and making sure all exposed skin is covered from ashfall. If you are unable to leave due to ashfall however, remain indoors and keep all pets inside. Do not attempt to drive if there is ash on the roads as it will cause car crashes and traffic accidents. Be sure to avoid all bridges as a hurricane coming from the volcano will destroy all bridges. If you have chosen to remain at home, tune in to local emergency radios which will be updated every 30 minutes from the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and Civil Defence regarding the status of the eruption and weather patterns. If you choose to evacuate by bike or other means of transport, evacuation routes will be marked in red. You are currently looking at evacuation routes for New Plymouth. All forms of air travel will be shut down around the North Island shortly as the ash from Mt Taranaki will contaminate the surrounding air, making it hazardous for any aircraft. All airports within the Taranaki region will also be shut down for the time being. Further updates will be broadcast imminently. Please stay tuned.
We have interrupted normal programming to bring you some breaking news. At 10:30 AM New Zealand Standard Time, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake shook the region of Taranaki today, followed shortly by a volcanic eruption from Mt Taranaki. So far, information is limited regarding the status of towns and areas within close proximity of the volcano along with the death toll from the earthquake. However, footage is coming into us live in the studio, showing the eruption in its full fury. Just minutes ago, Civil Defence launched an emergency broadcast for the region, indicating instructions on how to evacuate and protect yourself. We do remind you that this is a developing situation and we may not have all the information available. However, one of our correspondents from the ground has informed us that traffic is building up within large urban areas such as New Plymouth, Eltham, and Stratford. Despite warnings from Civil Defence not to evacuate by car, ships from the Royal New Zealand Navy are expected to arrive within New Plymouth later today in order to evacuate people from affected areas. The Prime Minister of New Zealand is also expected to make a speech regarding this situation sometime soon. We will keep you updated regarding this developing situation. Please stay tuned.
Attention! Attention! This is a pre-recorded emergency radio broadcast from the Wellington Air Traffic Control for all airborne aircraft flying above the North Island airspace. Mt Taranaki, located within the region of Taranaki, has erupted at 10:38 local time. A government order has been issued for all aircraft within a 161 nautical mile radius of Mt Taranaki summit coordinates. 39 degrees 17 minutes 47.1 seconds south, 174 degrees 03, 48.4 inches east to make their way towards the nearest airport and to remain grounded until further notice. A volcanic ash cloud which has been produced from Mt Taranaki is expected to cover most of the central plateau and the central North Island within 10 hours from now. The ash can threaten the engines of the aircraft and may cause health and safety hazards towards all souls on board and the aircraft itself. Volcanic ash is extremely hazardous to aircraft, causing potential engine failure, abrasion of surfaces, and clogging of sensors. All flights originating from New Plymouth Airport and Stratford Aerodrome are temporarily grounded. Flights inbound to these airports should divert to an alternate airport clear of the ash cloud. For aircraft currently operating in the vicinity, immediately exit the area using the most direct routing possible. Increase altitude to maximize terrain clearance and distance from the ash cloud. Monitor ATIS, NOTAMS and ATC instructions for updates. For private aircraft that have been ordered to land, be advised to cover your aircraft under some form of tarpaulin if no hangars are available. Commercial aircraft are expected to land at regional airports and each airport will have their own means of protecting aircraft once on ground. Based on latest observations, the volcanic ash cloud is rapidly expanding and has reached an altitude of over 30,000 feet. Strong winds are pushing the ash eastward towards the Whanganui Regional Park. We will continue monitoring this eruption and provide further instructions as the situation develops.
This is not a test. This is an activation of the National New Zealand Emergency Broadcasting System at 11:15 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time on the 17th of April 2027. Your full attention is required as this is a governmental broadcast. Mt Taranaki or Mount Egmont has erupted at 10:38 a.m. local time following a 7.5 magnitude earthquake which struck the area of Kaimaro at 10:30 a.m. with a depth of 5 kilometers. All roads heading into the region of Taranaki have been shut down from public use and only individuals evacuating will be able to use these roads. All airspace within the North Island and the Upper South Island have been shut down as ash from the volcano will likely spread across most of the central North Island within 12 hours from now. All airports within the North Island will also be shut down for the time being as ashfall will damage the engines of aircraft or blanket the runways and tarmacs. According to predictions made by the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research, the weather patterns from the volcanic ash will cover the regions of the Waikato, Manawatu Whanganui, the Bay of Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, and the Bay of Plenty by 3 p.m. today. The regions of Auckland and Lower Hutt will be covered by 5 p.m. today. Ashfall will also begin to accumulate around the North Island and parts of the South Island as different areas will have different levels of ashfall. A chart will now be provided, showing the level of ashfall each affected area will have by 4:30 p.m. today. It is highly stressed that individuals within affected areas are to wear protective measures in order to avoid harmful chemicals and suffocation within the ashfall. It is expected that individuals are to wear the following: A properly fitted P2 or N95 mask or cloth masks if other masks are unavailable, protective goggles or glasses, long sleeves and pants, sturdy footwear including boots and closed shoes, and gloves. By wearing these items, you will be protecting yourself from suffocation or inhaling hazardous chemicals. Be advised to close all doors and windows within areas that may have a high ashfall likelihood risk. When closing doors and windows along with vents within your area of residence, take care to seal all openings and cracks with wet pieces of cloth or towels. Furthermore, it is also encouraged by civil defense to cover all open and exposed objects such as vehicles, machinery, and devices in the event that ashfall does become extreme. As well as that, if you have any medical or respiratory conditions such as asthma, take care to have proper medication readily available. It is prohibited to drive on roads within areas that have more than 10 centimeters of ashfall on them, as too much ash can clog up the engines of your vehicle and may lead to serious road accidents. For all members of the public who happen to own a boat and reside along the western coastlines of Waikato, Manawatu Whanganui, and the Kapiti Coast, we highly encourage you to volunteer and assist individuals within New Plymouth and other parts of West Taranaki to evacuate by sea via boats. People who assist in the evacuation effort will be compensated $5,000 by the New Zealand government. All schools and public workplaces may be closed in a similar manner to the COVID-19 lockdowns back in 2020 due to extended ashfall risks within the North Island. Online workplace systems along with online learning will temporarily be available during this time. Essential businesses such as emergency personnel and producers will still be open during this time, however. Evacuation plans will also be in place in the event that the eruption escalates or threatens other areas. Local emergency plans have been drawn up by local authorities, and these plans will remain on standby for the time being until the eruption has concluded. Broadcasting channels will remain on air along with local news reports and radio stations keeping the public up to date with the status of the eruption. Remain calm and stay vigilant. This has been an emergency broadcast from the New Zealand government. Thank you for your attention.
This is OneNews at noon. Traffic jams begin to crawl to a standstill within New Plymouth today as people have abandoned their vehicles and are evacuating the area by foot. Similar scenes are shown with areas of Stratford and Inglewood as State Highway 3A becomes congested. Reports are coming in of several civilian marine vessels arriving into the port of New Plymouth along with other beaches and ports alongside the western coast of Taranaki. Civilians helping each other out and escaping by sea. Ashfall has also begun to occur around the Taranaki region as the airspace around the area has been shut down. We are also receiving reports of lava flows which happen to be coming down the mountain as of this time. GeoNet warns that if these lava flows continue to descend, they will almost certainly ignite a wildfire or a shrub fire within the Taranaki Regional Park. GeoNet also warns of a very high likelihood of volcanic fissures opening around the volcano which can eject volcanic rocks along with lava bombs which can be fatal. All aircraft have been grounded as of this time along with further regional alerts on areas which may have high concentrations of levels of ashfall.
are in practice. In other news, we have word that lahars have begun to make their way down the mountain through rivers such as the Hangatahua River, the Waifakaiho River, the Manganui River, and the Waiawa River. As of this time, we are receiving reports that various areas such as Okato, Kaimiro, and Egmont Village have all been flooded by the lahars, resulting in significant damage and various deaths. Civil Defense advises those who are caught within a lahar to seek high ground immediately and to stay out of all valleys as lahars can move at high speeds. Several properties have also been damaged due to the flooding of the lahars as well as water reservoirs and local dams. Most rivers have now been polluted along with no means of fresh water within areas such as New Plymouth. Most bridges have also been destroyed which run over affected rivers, furthermore making escape by ground difficult.
All radio stations within the regions of the Waikato, Manawatu, Wanganui, Gisborne, and Hawke's Bay have been temporarily shut down until further notice in order to air this emergency radio broadcast from the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research along with the New Zealand government at 6:20 p.m. local time. Ash clouds from Mt Taranaki have begun to rain ash upon populated areas. In order to remain protected from the ashfall, it is encouraged to remain indoors until further notice. Cover all exposed skin with protective gear or gloves. Do not drive under these conditions as vehicles and machinery will be clogged up and will cease to function. Also be advised to cover electrical equipment such as devices and machinery. Make sure to also bring all livestock indoors or under a shelter as the ashfall may suffocate them. Do not wear contact lenses as ash can scratch the eyes. It is advisable to wear glasses instead. Additionally, please be aware that phone lines may be down during this time and it is important not to make phone calls unless absolutely necessary. Power cuts may also occur within some areas. It is estimated that within 12 hours from now, different levels of ashfall will settle upon each area. The National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research has made predictions on how much ashfall areas will receive. Please listen carefully for your area. Ohura, 25 centimeters of ashfall Taumaranui, 18 centimeters of ashfall Ohango, 22 centimeters of ashfall Wanganui Regional Park, 20 centimeters of ashfall Pyogio, 21 centimeters of ashfall Kuiti Dash, 15 centimeters of ashfall Waitumo, 12 centimeters of ashfall Tuamachu, 8 centimeters of ashfall Cambridge, 5 centimeters of ashfall Hamilton, 4 centimeters of ashfall Raglan, 3 centimeters of ashfall Retihi, 28 centimeters of ashfall Oakoon, 30 centimeters of ashfall Wanganui, 10 centimeters of ashfall Martin, 6 centimeters of ashfall Palmerston North, 4 centimeters of ashfall Dannevirke, 2 centimeters of ashfall Diehape, 18 centimeters of ashfall Wairau, 12 centimeters of ashfall Terani, 8 centimeters of ashfall Taupo, 6 centimeters of ashfall Tokoroa, 5 centimeters of ashfall Rotorua, 3 centimeters of ashfall Merupara, 2 centimeters of ashfall. If your area of residence has been mentioned, please follow the proper instructions given out by local authorities, in order to protect yourself and your family from volcanic ashfall. Also be cautioned to avoid using rivers as lahars from Mt Taranaki along with ashfall may contaminate some forms of fresh water making it hazardous to consume. After the ashfall has concluded, measures will need to be taken in order to clean up affected areas. Wait until the ashfall has stopped before cleaning up ashfall outdoors. Continue to wear protective gear such as long-sleeved shirts and goggles before cleaning up the ash. Ensure that you use shovels and brushes first to clean up the ashfall before using a vacuum or rinsing gently with water such as a hose. Do not rub painted surfaces from ash as the ash is abrasive. Make sure to also clean ash from inside buildings and indoor areas in order to protect the air quality. Also follow advice from officials on water usage restrictions and safe cleanup methods. This has been a radio broadcast from Niwan Civil Defence. Remain cautious and keep well.
Captain Josh of HMNZS Canterbury. We are currently 5 nautical miles off the coast of Taranaki with HMNZS Taimana in company. Over. Current conditions are wind southwesterly at 25 knots, swell of 3 meters, visibility is 2 nautical miles due to ash in the air. Over.
HMNZS Canterbury, this is Taranaki Emergency Management. Evacuation points are being set up at Volcanic Beach and the current boat ramp. Prioritize getting evacuation boats and personnel ashore at those locations. Over. Be advised, the Volcanic channel has choked due to ash and debris. Suggest prioritizing Volcanic as your landing point. Over. Received. We are proceeding to Opunaki Beach as primary evacuation point. HMNZS ships, this is New Plymouth Harbour Master. The main wharf is currently accessible, but visibility is low. You are clear to proceed through the entrance channel with caution and be prepared to anchor and use boats to ferry evacuees.
Wilco Harbour Master, this is Wellington. We have our LCVPs and Zodiacs ready to go. Requesting a pier allocation for our ship.
Wellington, you are assigned berth 3 at the main wharf. Manawanui to berth 4, and we and he and I prepare to anchor and use boats.
Captain, this is the beach team. We have approximately 2,000 civilians loaded so far, but there are still over 1,000 waiting. Request additional boats to accelerate operations.
Understood. Boats are en route from the other ships. Wellington, have your rescue parties expedite transfer and get underway back to us with evacuees. Copy all. Our rescue parties are proceeding to the beach now with extra boats to accelerate the evacuation.
Be advised, latest ash cloud modeling shows winds could push the plume over New Plymouth in the next 2 hours. Visibility may degrade further.
This is OneNews Tonight. We bring you an update regarding the evacuation status within Taranaki this evening. Naval vessels from the Royal New Zealand Navy have arrived within New Plymouth today, allowing free passage for individuals who are in the process of evacuating or are unable to escape. Furthermore, 3 other ships from the Royal New Zealand Navy have been stationed near various other towns along the west coast of New Plymouth, including Waitara, Weria, and Rahotu. Ships that have been stationed alongside the west coast include the HMNZS Te Kaha, HMNZS Te Mana, HMNZS Wellington, HMNZS Canterbury, HMNZS Aotearoa, HMNZS Manawanui, and the HMNZS Otago. The Royal New Zealand Navy released a statement today, stating that it is their main intention to ensure the safety and protection of those within Taranaki and make sure that they can get out safely. Further reports also indicate that the New Zealand Defence Force are also sending in medium and heavy operational vehicles within large populated urban areas including New Plymouth and Stratford. A spokesperson from the New Zealand Defence Force stated that this is the largest full-scale military operation from the New Zealand Defence Force since the NZDF's deployment in East Timor during 1999 to 2002.
The HMNZS Canterbury has docked at Opunake, while the HMNZS Te Kaha is stationed at Waitara. Further south, the HMNZS Te Mana has taken position at Weria. The regional hub of New Plymouth is hosting the largest contingent, with 4 ships: HMNZS Wellington, HMNZS Otago, HMNZS Aotearoa, and HMNZS Manawanui docked alongside its port. Naval authorities estimate the evacuation could take anywhere from several hours to a full day to complete. The operation showcases the Royal New Zealand Navy's rapid response capabilities and its crucial role in civil defence emergencies. Residents are urged to follow instructions from naval personnel and local authorities to ensure a smooth evacuation process.
The seismic data shows a pattern consistent with an imminent partial collapse of the lava dome. We're projecting a large pyroclastic density current will be generated and travel to the northwest.
I'm looking at the model simulation. By northwest, are you indicating it will be heading straight towards New Plymouth?
Precisely. The flow path projects it will overtop the ridge and descend through the Waiwakaiho Valley, putting the entire New Plymouth urban area in the direct path.
God, evacuations are still ongoing in the coastal areas. We don't have enough time or resources to fully evacuate the city before 8 a.m.
Copy that. I'll need to initiate the emergency evacuation plan immediately and pull all available resources into New Plymouth. We have to get as many people out as possible.
Based on the volume estimates, this will be an extremely hazardous pyroclastic flow, devastating anything in its path with hurricane-force winds and extreme temperatures.
What about the trajectory after New Plymouth? Where else is threatened?
The modeling indicates the flow will maintain a northwest direction after the city, putting the areas of Inglewood, Egmont Village, Corridor, Kaimaro, Omada, Hillsborough, Herworth, Mangere, Norfolk, Wyongana, Leperton, and Waitara in the potential impact zone as well.
Shit, I'll coordinate with the regional authorities to start evacuating the remaining areas immediately too. This is a worst-case scenario. We have at least 9,000 people remaining in the path of this flow.
Issue the emergency notifications and stand up civil defense centers. We need to throw every available resource into these evacuations before 0800 hours. Time is against us.
This is an emergency broadcast from Civil Defence issued at 6:45 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time. This broadcast is designated towards all living individuals within the northwestern area of the region of Taranaki. If you happen to be located within that area as of this time, you are facing certain death. In approximately 120 to 140 minutes from now, a pyroclastic surge will erupt from Mt Taranaki and move in a northwesterly direction. The latest data produced from GeoNet and GNS Science have indicated with high certainty and probability that a significantly large and destructive pyroclastic flow will expand above the Wakai Range. The regions which will be affected by this catastrophic pyroclastic flow will include Corridor, Kaimiro, Taranaki, Norfolk, Inglewood, Egmont Village, Everett Park, Mangere, Herworth, Amata, Oigara, Kaitake, New Plymouth, Hillsborough, Leperton, Sentry Hill, Waitara, Tikarani, and Motunui. If you are currently within any of these areas, you will die if you do not follow proper evacuation procedures imminently. A pyroclastic flow is an extremely rapid and fast-moving avalanche of superheated gas and volcanic material such as ash and rocks, Temperatures from these flows can reach as high as 1,000 C and move up to speeds greater than 750 km per hour, faster than Category 5 hurricane winds. This is a life-threatening situation, and it is essential to follow instructions from local authorities. This advice goes out to all individuals, including organizations and officials of emergency groups. If you are unable to get out by the time the pyroclastic flow occurs, you will need to take note of the following instructions in order to ensure your slim chances of survival. Seek shelter under any conceivable way. This may include a hut, a vehicle, or even a natural structure such as a cave or a ditch. If you seek shelter within a building, ensure that you hide within the lowest part of the building. Lie down on your stomach and cover your head in order to ensure maximal protection. Cover all exposed skin with clothing. These are combustible, however, and may ignite on you if you are caught within a pyroclastic flow. Furthermore, use items such as mattresses, pillows, blankets, or cushions to insulate yourself. Do not take cover in low-lying areas such as valleys, as pyroclastic flows tend to build up more mass. If a pyroclastic flow has already entered your area, do not attempt to outrun it, as you will not survive. Prepare to remain sheltered for an extended period of time until the pyroclastic flow has stopped, which may be from minutes to an hour. Emergency services will begin to enter the area once the pyroclastic flow has finished, and look for survivors. We expect all individuals to have evacuated by 8 a.m. If you haven't evacuated by that time, ensure your survival, and seek refuge immediately. This has been an emergency broadcast from Civil Defense. Good luck, and may God protect you all.
We are now receiving the first images coming into us now, showing what is left of New Plymouth and the rest of the Taranaki region. It appears that the entire city has been reduced to rubble. Reports are coming in, describing it as if an atomic bomb struck the city. Helicopter footage coming from the Pyroclastic ranges show burnt bush, along with flattened trees and buildings. Reports indicate that the pyroclastic flow went above the ranges and traveled at speeds exceeding 800 km/h. It took only 5 minutes for the pyroclastic flow to reach New Plymouth. According to statements from Civil Defence and the Royal New Zealand Navy, 670 individuals within the region were unaccounted for during the evacuation process, with some reports indicating that entire towns, such as Inglewood and Norfolk, weren't even aware of a pyroclastic flow until it was too late. Experts believe that the death toll from this eruption may reach into the thousands, with several hundred individuals killed from both the lahars and pyroclastic flows alone. Emergency teams along with emergency personnel from Australia are expected to re-enter the Taranaki region by 9 today in order to find any remaining survivors who may have survived the pyroclastic flow. However, a spokesperson from Civil Defence stated today that the chances of survival from this eruption may be incredibly slim. Several people, including the mayor of New Plymouth, are declared as missing and presumed dead.
May we have your immediate attention, please? This is a national broadcast issued by the New Zealand Government along with Civil Defence at 5:30 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time on the 18th of April 2027. All currently broadcasting stations have been shut down in order to transmit this broadcast. At approximately 5:03 p.m. Mt Taranaki has stopped erupting and producing ash as scientists at GNS Science and GeoNA state that there is no further eruptions occurring at the volcano as of this time. While the eruption has concluded, it is still prohibited to enter the Taranaki region due to extensive damage to the surrounding area along with development efforts as of this time. It has also been discovered that the city of New Plymouth along with most other parts of northwestern Taranaki are rendered as uninhabitable. Nobody will be allowed to live within that area for the time being. All survivors and refugees from the region have been moved to displacement camps alongside with temporary housing for those who cannot live anywhere else. Each survivor has been compensated a total amount of $5,000 to $10,000 by the New Zealand government along with government-sponsored funding for healthcare efforts. More than 1,600 people within the northwestern part of Taranaki alone are missing and are now presumed dead. Along with that, 6,500 people across the entire region of Taranaki are also missing and are presumed dead, as volcanic ash patterns still affect the airspace above the North Island. Both domestic and international flights will be either diverted or need to change existing flight paths in order to avoid volcanic ash. Both Auckland Airport and Wellington Airport will remain closed for the following 4 weeks as repair crews and clean-up teams begin plans to clean up the ash. Furthermore, clean-up operations will be taking place within affected areas with high concentrations of ashfall. These regions may include the Waikato, Manawatu Wanganui, Lower Hutt, Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, and the Bay of Plenty. Local officials will instruct you on proper cleanup procedures. Scientists at GNS Science and GeoNA estimate that Mt Taranaki erupted at a volcanic explosivity index VEI scale of between VEI 5 and VEI 6. This has been considered as one of the largest and deadliest volcanic eruptions in modern New Zealand history. All volunteers, civil defence workers, charities, naval personnel, and the New Zealand Defence Force personnel will all be awarded the New Zealand Cross for their bravery and efforts in helping people evacuate the Taranaki region in a timely manner and minimising the civilian impact with proper warnings and guidance. We extend our sincerest condolences towards those who have lost loved ones within both the Taranaki earthquakes and the volcanic eruption of Mount Taranaki. A national day of remembrance will take place for the lives lost in this tragic event. This has been a national broadcast from the New Zealand Government and Civil Defence. We thank you for your attention.